My name is Sienna. As I write these linens, there's still a relentless pulse pounding inside me, a fire that keeps the steel-hard memories of the past fresh maybe. When you read this, so call mine sane or foolish, or just a dangerous trickster, but I have no intention of defending myself. This is a confession. I am a woman thief, and I'm having a mad, reckless relationship with a cop named Mike, a story without regret, one that have felt with every fiber of my being relished, and one that has recreated the woman inside me. What I'm about to tell you starts in a police station, a place where the law supposedly reigns supreme, transforms into an assertion of my own freedom instincts, and maybe even a feeling I never thought I'd confess. Love manifested in all its strange, passionate glory. My name is Sienna. 27 years old, a thief. I've never been ashamed to say it, but I'm not a common thief. I don't do this for money, material gain, or simple revenge. I steal for prestige. I target things other thieves wouldn't even dare consider. I love challenging the impossible. All those sterile security measures, multiple locks, lasers patrolling cops for me. They're just a playground. I plan every move with precision, and I love stepping into risk at its highest peak. This is one of the reasons I exist, the adrenaline that keeps me live. This time I chose the city's stoutest target, the Central Police Station, right in the heart of town, not some small outpost, but a veritable fortress. Surveillance cameras, cutting alarm systems, cunning detectives. Entering there is like walking straight into a scorpion's nest, but that's exactly what I crave, to break into the very symbol of the city's security, the place criminals fear most in, take highly protected documents from most secure, safe documents that cannot be handed over. Dangerous information. Their theft would multiply me fame, carving my name in gold letters into the city's underground linens. I still remember that night, my black leather jacket, tight clothes shugging my body, my toolkit snug at my waist. As I slipped through the shadow draped over the police station from the rooftop, my heart was calm yet thrumming with extent. I watched the windows, waited for the shift changes, everything going aggressively according to plan. I got in through a ventilation hatch on the roofie. Had rehearsed every movement, getting past the local alarm circuits, dodging sensors, moving silently through long dark corridors. Everything was flawless until I ran into him, Mike 34, the most ambitious and fearless detective in the city, of course. I'd heard his name. Who in the city's underbelly hasn't heard of Mike? He's bold, never gives up, intelligent, agile, amen, both praised by the innocent and hated by criminals. For a thief like meth name, Mike stands as the barrier between a night of easy rest and constant vigilance. He was the eyes and ears of the police station, and I realized that night that inside that fortress, I had wandered right onto his radar. As I continued my heist, I suddenly came face to face with him in a silent corridor. My black mask hid my face, my gloves erased my fingerprints, but when the eyes met, Mike's time stretched, tightened, and stopped for a few seconds. Just stared. His eyes burned with suspicion, anger. Mine, perhaps concealed beneath the mask, carried a defiant smile. That silent duel was our first major move on a grand chessboard. He reached for his gun. I slipped back with a graceful motion. A chase began. We ran throughout corridors, rushed up and down staircases, while alarms shrieked through every corner of the station. I leapt over lasers and twisted through obstacles like an elusive cat, and he followed close behind. If it had been any ordinary cop, I'd have lost them long ago. But Mickey was different. His instincts matched my cunning. Even when I hid in dark passages, it was as though he could hear my breathing. At last, I reached the room with the safe, my true target, a fortified of stainless steel, heavily guarded opening. It was my specialty. I understood the language of metal, each click of a lock, each subtle shift of the mechanism. My heart pounded as I put my finger beside the lock. Inside lay crucial documents, maybe hidden jewels. Well, knew what grand secrets. Just as I was about to crack it, Mike appeared in the doorway. I hadn't expected him to be so quick. My hands froze, suspended like a cocked trigger with nowhere to go. Mike aimed his gun at me, his voice firm. "Don't move." A shrill excitement tore through me. His commanding tone, his icy composure first angered me, then strangely enticed me. Facing a man with such strong willpower provoked me. I wanted to escape, not let him win yet. At the same time, something about his presence pulled me into a strange vortex. I played a small trick. I released a smoke grenade onto the floor. Thick white fumes swallowed the room, locking Mike's vision. While I leapt to a corner, the alarms blared in my ears. Sensors went berserk as I advanced through the smoke toward him. I thought wouldn't notice. I was wrong. Strong arms wrapped around my waist, holding muscle in that cloud of smoke. We ended up face to face. I could feel his breath at the tip of my nose. We locked eyes, and even in that darkness, we could read each other's gaze. That's when something next happened. We both stopped. We weren't fighting anymore. It was as if in that clamorous instant was surrendered to each other. How can I explain this? In that moment, fear, hatred, and the anxiety of being caught vanished. Their place came a warped desire aroused but dizzying attraction instead of fatiguing or fleeing. I touched my fingertips to the nape of his neck. He was surprised at first. Then he let go, we drew closer, and suddenly guns, badge masks, and identities ceased to matter. 12 humans clung to each other in the midst of chaos. When our lips met, a louder sound seemed to fade, the smoketh, alarms, the footsteps outside all gone, only we remained. I felt a solid for in his heartbeat. The volcanic energy inside him, I in turn surrendered in a way that astonished even me. Yes, there in the crime scene, if in the arms of a man he should consider an enemy, I experienced an unforgettable moment. It was a closeness, writhing with passion, a mixture of anger and desire intertwined. The fear of capture Avanish momentarily leaning against his chest, his hands gripping my waist. Our bodies raged with a hurricane-off sensation. It was a strange passion born of darkness and tension, perhaps fueled by impossibility and prohibition. I felt no regret on secondary. I had never felt more alive after that electrifying encounter. A silent pact formed between us. We both had to keep that night a secret. Michael didn't tell his unit he'd almost caught me, that I'd slipped right through his fingers. Worse yet, that he touched him, and I touched him back, disturbing his heart. His career, his principles, his loyalty to the law were all at stake. As for me, I'd escaped capture. So what now? We could have exposed and ruined each other, but when we decided to continue the gamut, be an unspoken agreement. We shared the secret of that moment. The following days were indescribably thrilling for me. I knew I was on Mike's mind, that he was likely tracing my steps, wandering the city's back streets. I felt his shadow behind me, perhaps reviewing surveillance footage. Combing through old KC Falesh worked furiously to find me, I imagined, yet at the same time I wasn't certain if he truly wanted to catch me or just see me again. That twisted pull between us led to more encounters, later on supposed coincidences that were nothing of the sort. For example, one night, I was about to infiltrate a warehouse in a deserted alley. Looking up, I saw a silhouette watching me from a rooftop, smoking a cigarette. Mike Ashever ran through me instead of running away. I purposely provoked him. I abandoned my current job and climbed to the rooftop. He noticed me, glanced at Hiskin for a moment. Then our eyes met again, bringing back that crackling alacrity. We understood each other without speaking. We danced on a tightrope off tension, sometimes praised him as predator. The roles switched constantly and no one knew anymore who was which. Another time we met in an old abandoned building. There was no logical reason for either of us to be there, but we were in wooden stairs, graffiti on the walls, broken glass on the floor. Dusty, filthy, silent, our steps echoed in the emptiness. Our breathing grew heavy as we drew closer. Fear and desire tangled one summer there before a grimy cracked window. In the dim light of dancing shadows, we touched each other again as our hands wandered over each other's bodies. I felt cold metal of his badge against my skin. I saw no need to hold back in that moment. We spoke only through our senses. Crime and law were left outside this moment as if irrelevant. The only reality was the wild rhythm of our hearts. After that, there was no turning back. Could this be a form of secret love or just a passion fed by danger? I don't know, maybe both. There were no declarations of affection, yet our actions said far more. One day among the busy crowds off city, I spotted Mike across the street. We locked eyes momentarily. He stood tall in his suit and badge-bearing jacket, while I smirked mischievously under my leather coat. Neither of you signaled, but we both knew what we shared. Off course, if this forbiddance closeness were discovered, it would spell disaster for both of us. Mike's superiors would interrogate him, try to uncover his connection to me. I could lose all my credibility, so we became more cautious with every step. I conducted my heists with more finesse, and Mike pursued my trail more discreetly. Whenever we crossed paths, no one could see us. We were lost in a clandestine romance, a mad game. It's hard to define our relationship. As much as I desired him, also hated him because he reminded me I could be caught. He might have been crazy about me, but he also knew he should bring me to justice, yet he didn't. I could sense how angry he was with himself in every one of our encounters. I saw the inner conflict in his gaze. As he looked at me, he felt like I was his accomplice in sin, and as a criminal, and not only violated his honor, but also wrote the rhythm of his heart deep down. Maybe I did love him. I never admitted this to anyone, not even to myself with any certainty, but when it pulled away, when I spent lonely nights at home, resting my head on the pillow, I remembered his touch, the hard lines of his face, the warmth of his breath. These memories sparked electric jolts through my body, and on the next day, when I set out again to pick a target, crack locks, and pass obstacles. I wondered if he'd catch me this time. This uncertainty kept the tension alive, fueling the fire of our passion. Rumors began to circulate in the city. People talked about a thief who had infiltrated police station and vanished without a trace. They said Mike was nervous, as if hiding something, but no one knew the truth. I was a shadow, the CP Dinto. The heart of the police force, and Mike was a hunter who had tasted that shadow and couldn't let go. Our relationship was something that didn't fit any rule book, any ethical code, an affront to society's order. One night, we met again, this time in an abandoned port warehouse outside. If wind moaned inside, there was the smell of rusty metal. Our footsteps echoed in the emptiness as I waited on a high iron platform. Mike paced below, searching for me. Our outlines flickered on the walls. As shadows finally spotted me, we remained silent without a word. We drew close. His strong hand circled my waist. As I ran my fingers through his hair once more, our lips met in the icy night air, melted on our skin. Passion danced between us again. This forbidden, chaotic, scorching connection had us both hooked like a narcotic. Hazing that moment, law, crime, morality, none of it existed, only the top-burning presence of us. I don't know how this story will end. Maybe one day Mike will regain his composure and finally arrest. Maybe I'll grow bored and leave the city, or maybe we'll find a way to formalize this game into some inexplicable pact. All I know is that what we've lived has made me who I am. A steal for prestige, yes, but I've realized that my greatest prize is hidden in that secret passion. It's brighter than any precious jewel, a forbidden love story between a thief and a detective, a whirlpool of lust and anger. This is my confession. Am I sorry? Never. With every breath, every touch, every rush of adrenaline, I become more real of this forbidden passion I've experienced in Mike's arms. In back alleys and shadowed warehouses is one-off things that define me, a tale born in the shadow of crime, sprouting in cause, mixing fear and desire into something fierce. And as I write this story, I feel no regret at all, because I am seen as the woman who loves to defy limits or claims her freedom by picking stealix, a thief and a woman, and this story is truly mine.